Hello everyone and good morning. My name is Liam Freeman and I'm the Associate Director of the Creative Industries Cluster in the College of Vocational Education here at RMIT University. For today's presentation, I'm joined by Tyler Payne and Nat Borowski, and Tyler and Nat will be introducing themselves in a moment introducing themselves to you all during our presentation. Today we're going to tell you a little bit about our wonderful visual arts and photo imaging photography program areas. These programs are world renowned and allow students to work and learn across a variety of visual art and photo imaging disciplines to replicate real world experience and develop the deep discipline skills they will need once they start their careers. But before we begin, I would just like to acknowledge, on behalf of RMIT University, the people of the Woiwurrung and Boonwurrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nations, on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university. RMIT University respectfully acknowledges their ancestors and elders past and present. RMIT also acknowledges the traditional custodians and their ancestors of the lands and waters across Australia where we conduct our business. RMIT is very much committed to redefining its relationship in working with and supporting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander self-determination. The university's goal is to achieve lasting transformation by maturing its values, culture, policy and structures in a way that embeds reconciliation in everything that we do. In line with the principles of Bunjil, we are changing our ways of knowing, working and being to support sustainable reconciliation and activate a relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students and the community. So welcome once again and thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in so far. I'm very pleased now to pass you over to Tyler to start our program presentation. Thank you. Over to you, Tyler.
Thanks, Liam. Hi, everyone. My name is Tyler Payne and I'm the Program Coordinator for the Diploma and Advanced Diploma of Visual Arts. Next slide, please. So today I'm going to talk to you about the Diploma and the Advanced Diploma of Visual Arts and how they operate and run. We do 2 intakes of our diploma. Our larger intake comes in February. We have quite a large group actually of the diploma, and that, as I said, is in February, and we have somewhere between 140, sometimes up to 180 students. In this intake, we offer part-time study. So if that is something that you think is going to be beneficial for you, I do recommend undertaking the February intake. We do have a smaller what I like to call the boutique diploma that we do in July, which is our mid-year intake. That is full-time only. So that is something I do like to just let people know straight away. Both courses are identical in terms of the content, but obviously one has a much smaller cohort, usually around 30 students in the mid-year intake. Our advanced diploma is they're run sequentially, so after the diploma you can move straight into our advanced diploma. The advanced diploma also offers full-time and part-time options. And that also starts in February as well. Next slide, please. So with the diploma, it's an intensive year of study and it really is designed with hands-on practical skills that are there to build the foundations of a professional visual arts practice. I think with the diploma, you do apply with a portfolio, but it is designed to be very broad. And so we offer a variety of different different subjects. So you're going to get a very broad approach in what you're going to study. So you'll try painting, you'll try printmaking, sculpture, mixed media, you'll get to experience the theoretical side of art practice. So you'll be engaged with art history, you'll be engaged with Photoshop and the digital sides of a contemporary art practice, photography. And so it's really about ensuring that you see everything and experience everything in a contemporary art practice, so that you can try basically a little bit of everything, so that you could then move forward from a beginner level into the advanced diploma or other experiences and specialize from that next phase. Next slide, please. So the length of the diploma full-time is 1 year. If you were to do it part-time, traditionally we would break it down into 50%, which is over 2 years, although that is negotiable. And as I was saying before, it reflects the roles of individuals who are gaining a beginner experience in an extensive range of artistic mediums. So you may come in and have had a fair amount of experience in one medium, for example, painting, but then you're going to gain a lot of different experiences across a variety of other mediums. And I guess the thing to think about, if that was your experience, is that the more you gain knowledge and tactile experience with other mediums, is that it's going to expand your practice. So we try to let students know that the more you engage with more mediums and more just the more that you have a well-rounded approach to your art making, the better your practice is going to be. You are going to undertake independent studio practice and develop a wide range of highly specialized technical, creative and conceptual skills and knowledge, problem solving and organizing. And that will be across all of the different mediums and approaches. So, and it's a very busy course, so and very engaging. And so that's just a little bit about the program structure of the diploma. Next slide, please. So the advanced diploma, it's a great course. That also is 1 year if you were to do it full time. And again, similar to the diploma, if you were to do it part time, generally we break that down into a 2-year course that is 50% each year, but again, that is negotiable depending on your circumstances. And any of those discussions that you would need to have, you would come and speak to me as your coordinator, and we would work out a study plan. So the great thing about the advanced diploma is that after the diploma, you can then spend more time in specialization. So that means that in the diploma, and I will show you in some upcoming slides a little bit more about the actual breakdown, so I won't say too much yet, but basically you get to specialize in some electives, and you get to do some significant studio work in those electives. And so you really do get to advance in some areas of your choice in artistic mediums. And you get to produce some really highly professional folios of work in your own studio facilities. And that's one of the big draw cards of the advanced diploma. You get some amazing studio facilities. They're really great. And they're really beautiful to work in. You get to work through a process of very industry-based collaborative briefs, and you really do establish some professional networks and connections with local and international creative communities through those projects. So, and that's all through the classes that you engage with through the advanced diploma. Next slide, please. So, with your advanced diploma, you're going to build on technical studies in the studio and location, producing collaborative long-term projects that include self-directed projects, group works, and a professional portfolio of work, culminating with a group exhibition. So a large focus, for example, of semester 2 is working towards your grad show. And you do really graduate with a readiness to join the professional industry in your chosen field. And part of that is because you do spend so much time in the studio specializing in your areas. Next slide, please. So a common question that we receive is regarding pathways. So we've just broken it down a little bit for you with this slide. So just with the, this is one way that you can look at it. So with your, the first option, you've got the diploma, and you can do that in 1 year full time. And then you could go off and do the advanced diploma of visual arts. And so if you were to do both of those full time, you would complete them in 2 years. And if you were to do them part time, it would be 4. Now, if you were to go into higher education, if that was something that you were interested in doing at RMIT, you could do your diploma and then you could do the advanced diploma. The benefit of doing the advanced diploma is once you complete the advanced diploma, you can go from the advanced diploma into the second year of the Bachelor of Fine Arts. And with the credit points that you accrue through completing the advanced diploma, the way that it is organised, the credit points, is that you go to the first semester of first year, so that you don't miss some of the key essential units of your first semester of first year. And then you shift into the second half of the second year units. So you still have, you accrue the credit points of the equivalent of 1 year, but that's how the actual units are organized. So that's how the pathway works. And so you would be able to undertake from diploma to the full bachelor. That's how that pathway works, of a total of 4 years. Okay, next slide, please. So as I was saying, we've I put together this slide for you to sort of break down a little bit about the Diploma of Visual Arts. I have one of these as well for you for the advanced diploma. But basically with the diploma, you do 3 electives. There are 4 to choose from for the entirety of the year. So out of printmaking, photography, sculpture or painting, you select 3 and you do them for semesters 1 and 2. So you would choose 3 of the 4. And whatever you would choose in semester 1, you continue on to do in semester 2. And then you will also continue on with everything in the second and third units. They're considered core and elective units, but not elective in that there are choices. They're the ones that are sort of embedded into the course. So you have refined drawing, realize a body of creative work, which is a Photoshop animation course, create observational drawings, which in shorthand is known as life drawing, analyze cultural history and theory, which is art history, maintain creative arts industry knowledge, which is an industry subject about exhibiting. Establish and maintain safe creative practice is learning about all of the OH&S requirements and how to work in the studio safely. Now, refined drawing and realize a body of creative work, which is your Photoshop class, they actually go for the entirety of semesters 1 and 2. So you would carry them through. If we look at semester 2, you'll see that there are some changes for semester 2. You would continue on again with your electives, the semester 2 equivalents. Present a body of creative work is another exhibition subject where you would learn about exhibiting and how to install things and all sorts of industry-based information. Develop Own Sustainable Practice is another unit where you learn sustainability approaches in art making. And then Critique Cultural Works is another art history unit. So it's quite a broad, as I said, quite a broad unit because those units on top of your electives, which again, as I'll just let you know, are printmaking, photography, sculpture or painting, you're learning quite a lot about the contemporary art scene. Next slide, please. And so with the advanced diploma, you would then you'll see here that we have the electives in semester 1, and again, you wouldn't do 3 electives in the advanced diploma. You then would decide to do 2 of the 4 options, which again are printmaking, photography, sculpture, or painting. And then in semester 1, you would be undertaking Realise an Installation, which is a really fun unit on installation art. Extend Cultural Research Expertise is another art history unit. Work with the Human Form is Drawing with the Human Form. Business of Creative Practice is learning all about the fundamentals of business relating to being a sole trader and the all of the imperative things that you need to know running your own business as an artist. So, and that's a really very core unit to being an artist that wants to work in industry. In semester 2, as you can see, you continue on with 2 of the electives. There's another drawing unit specializing in representational tools. New Art Forms is a unit that focuses again on it's video art, broadly speaking. And Publicly Present is, I've put in brackets the grad show unit because it's the exhibition unit that prepares you for the grad show, and it entails all of the group work that is engaged with getting you prepared for your exhibition. So it's quite, and actually in the business semester 1 unit, I should have said that you actually undertake a lot of the semester 1 tasks that are connected to that as well. So it's quite an engaged year as well. Next slide, please. So you've got some excellent facilities in the advanced diploma. We've got, as I said, exceptional studio access in the visual arts space. We've got high-end equipment across sculpture, photography, printmaking and painting, great Mac labs, great access to photography equipment, loans, access to full Adobe Creative Suite for all of our students, and a number of large-scale drawing rooms for students to use, which is wonderful. Next slide, please. Kate is a student, and this is a profile that I thought I would share with you, who is completing the Advanced Diploma of Visual Arts this year and has done the diploma. And I thought, I spoke to Kate and I said, okay, Kate, I'm actually doing open day and I wanted to ask you about your experience, about doing these courses, and if I could just get a soundbite from you. And Kate said to me, I was self-taught with my art skills and chose the path of diploma and advanced diploma as a pathway to further my success in higher education at RMIT, which is where Kate is going to go. I'm so glad I did. The experience has expanded my concepts, ideas, and practice. I can truly see how art history aligns with the practical side of creating art. I was surprised with the advanced digital skills that I learnt that I didn't realize I needed, which have been so beneficial. I have greater confidence in developing my works, and building networks. The teachers are so knowledgeable and compassionate, and I have been blown away. So, and Kate wants to, as I said, move into the higher ed space and continue to develop their art practice. And, you know, not everyone, that's not the pathway for everyone, but that is quite a common pathway for a lot of our students. And so I just wanted to share that with everyone today. Next slide, please. And I guess I just wanted to share as well some of the sort of industry projects that you get to be a part of. So, you know, fundraising and getting to work on the grad show is a really fundamental and keystone part of your experience if you do undertake the advanced diploma, because working in group shows, getting solo shows together, fundraising for that, those sorts of things, it's just so key to any artist's experience, and getting to do that in a supportive environment and getting to learn the tricks of the trade from the teachers around you, I think, is a really beneficial experience, and something that, you know, I've learned so much in my own practice from getting to be a part of this over and over again, and which I think has been wonderful. And I think I'm learning new things even now as we've shifted into having to do these things digitally through, you know, rolling with the COVID now. So I think I wanted to just sort of, you know, point that out as being a positive thing that students engage with. Self-directed learning, I think, is something that maybe also doesn't get discussed enough as a positive, it really is an industry-related key step that you engage with, because that is being an artist. And I guess self-directed learning and fundraising are key aspects of exhibiting, because without them, you can't exhibit. They really, especially when you in the early stages, when you're applying for REs, and, you know, when you're building your profile, in the first sort of 10 years, you really have to work towards those things. So I think that you don't just go straight to exhibiting. You really have to learn those skills, and I think we really try and teach them to you quite generously here. Next slide, please. And just, I think this is, I'm coming towards the end. One of the big things I get asked at Open Day a lot is, you know, what job will I get if I do these courses? And I think a better way to frame that question is, you know, what skills can I take out into various industries? Because yes, there are a number of jobs that you can use, that you can take these courses with you. You know, obviously being an art practitioner is one of them. But, you know, you can shift into art education, art therapy, working in a gallery or a museum, commercial creative technician. But my own experience, you know, has been, as I, you know, self-funded myself throughout all my postgraduate studies. I'm finishing a PhD at the moment. That, you know, you can translate creative thinking into a variety of commercial approaches and jobs, and it can be a very valuable skill that you can use. And I did use in professional services and publishing, and I found very valuable my art practice in the way that I was able to problem solve, and, you know, has led me even here to this role. So I think that you know, I always like to try and reframe that question of how can creative thinking and be of the utmost value. So next slide. I think I'm up to showing you some excellent alumni profiles. I just, you know, I think we've got some excellent alumni who are working out in the field now. Marion Abraham is exhibiting regularly now as a painter, and has makes beautiful works. Next slide. Lena Stimpson has become a very popular and renowned tattoo artist, and did both the diploma and advanced diploma of visual arts. Next slide. Andy Hoven is very well known for the illustrations that he does. So he's working as a commercial creative from the work that he has done. And then I think we have one more slide. And then Ashika Harper is an example of a student who has gone on to do very well in the higher education space, has done diploma, advanced diploma, and is now completing the 3rd year of the bachelor, and wants to, you know, pursue postgraduate studies. So I thought that was a nice, well-rounded example of students who have done our courses and are moving into a variety of different and engaging opportunities. And now I am going to throw you back all to Liam. And thank you so much for listening to me today.
Thanks so much, Tyler, and what a lovely way to end your presentation. That's beautiful work. The last few slides, amazing work there from some of our previous graduates and alumni. So before we move to Nat, who will be speaking about our photo imaging programs, I just wanted to remind everyone who's participating here that there is opportunity to pose any questions you might have in the chat, which will be either responded to via a response in the chat itself, but also there will be some time at the end of this session where Nat and Tyler can respond to your questions, probably in the last 10 or 15 minutes. So thanks again, Tyler. We might move across now to Nat, who will be speaking about our amazing photography and photo imaging programs. Thanks, Nat. Over to you.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Next Fest 2021, RMIT's Open Day. Thank you, Liam and Tyler. As mentioned, my name is Nat, and I am the Program Coordinator for Photography and Photo Imaging here at RMIT University. So today I'd like to tell you a little bit about our programs. Next slide, please. So we offer two programs within the College of VE, which are the Cert 4 and the Diploma of Photography and Photo Imaging. We have our February intake for both the Cert 4 and the Diploma, with an additional entry point into our July intake or mid-year program for the Certificate 4. Next slide, please. So our Certificate 4 in Photography and Photo Imaging is an intensive. It focuses around a really truly hands-on experience. It is based on building the foundational skills of a professional photographer. You basically apply through a portfolio of images, 8 to 10 images that indicate your interest in a particular genre. And we ask a couple of questions that you need to answer in order to put through your application. And really, it does give students an opportunity to look at an all-rounded experience. Next slide, please. So a little bit more about the Cert 4. It's 1 year in length full-time, and it's generally around 4 full days a week. This is a more prescribed year where students learn to apply themselves over a broad range of skills in lighting and image capture. That's based on studio and location. Digital post-production, including image enhancements and manipulation. We look at high-end printing for fine art print output processes. We have some incredible print lab opportunities for students to really understand not only how to work as a digital artist, but how to really output for printing and for tangible outcomes. We also have an introduction to video using digital and audio equipment, and getting students to really understand how to edit for video and using a moving image as well in their photography course. And we also have photo theory and history and an introduction into small business management, which is really crucial, as Tyler had mentioned, to really understand the fundamentals of running your own business and freelancing, and making sure that you have a broad range of skills to be able to run a successful freelancing job once you complete your studies. Next slide, please. So the diploma builds on the foundational skills developed through the Certificate 4. It is where students begin to really specialise in their photographic practice, again, including high-end studio commercial production and media photo images, which translates to newspapers and magazines. We do large-scale collaborative projects. So we are very fortunate when we move into the diploma to be able to work with interdisciplinary projects with other areas of RMIT. And that also includes the incredible book project, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about in a moment. In second semester, students then begin to start focusing around work integrated learning and also their major final folio. So this includes students getting together and really building on a specialization or a genre of photography that they want to reach out into. And it concludes together for a collective exhibition at the end. This year will allow students to gain the confidence to join and be job ready for the professional industry, which I think having a 2-year space to study and to build, not only in the foundation year in Cert 4, but also in the diploma to specialise, it really does propel students out into a professional industry and be trade ready and be able to really move forward as a professional and have a good grounding of all areas. Next slide, please. So like the Cert 4, the diploma is 1 year full time and typically runs over a 4-day week as well. Students engage more heavily in specialisations and industry-based projects and assessment, as mentioned, and whether that's through multidiscipline collaboration or through networking and industry connections for our work integrated learning. It's about establishing professional networks and connections and really getting involved in the local and international creative community. Next slide, please. So our pathways here, as you can see, very similar to the visual arts, where students have 2 options. You can start in the Certificate 4, which is a 1-year program full-time, and then you segue into the Diploma of Photography and Photo Imaging, which allows you, again, that idea of specialisation and really honing in on your skills as a commercial photographer and building on your work integrated learning and really connecting with industry. The other option is you can move from the Cert 4 into the diploma and then move into the Bachelor of Arts Photography, which is a 2-year program once you've completed your VE studies, which allows you, again, very similarly with visual arts, where students are able to pick up and have credit for a number of the courses that have been done in VE, but also get the experience of going through the Bachelor and really finessing the skills to that next level in the Bachelor. Next slide, please. So you can see here with our Certificate 4, we run over 2 semesters. And the amazing part of the Cert 4 is that although it is quite prescribed, we do give you all of the benefits and the opportunities to really engage in all aspects of photography practice. So you can see here in the semester 1, we have process to print, which really is print output and really understanding all of the areas of print process, from understanding calibration, color monitor, profiling, making sure that you can work with beautiful fine art papers and understanding the behavior of print output. Intro to Photo is all about understanding your camera, the principles and elements of design, really understanding how to get out there and really capture visual imagery. And also looking at file asset management as well. So it's quite an all-rounder class, the Intro to Photo. Studio 1 focuses on studio lighting, being really familiar with engaging in different practices that involve different gear, but also on location as well. We do offer students the ability to go out and shoot using studio lighting and working out on location too. OHS is involved in Studio 1 as well, and good work practices within the studio. Research Photo History, it's all about the history of photography. It's an amazing way to really look back at the incredible creativity of photographers in past and really being able to research and get a good understanding of what genres or areas of photography that may interest you as a photographer. As mentioned, we also do the video class. It is a fantastic class, a really great opportunity for students to engage in moving image and getting an understanding of how to use digital cameras in that moving image space. Digital 1 focuses on post-production, basically. So it is around understanding Photoshop, Lightroom, Bridge, and Capture as well. So it's a really great opportunity for students to understand programs, learn fantastic digital asset management, and really learning how to enhance and manipulate images. Into semester 2, we continue on with process to print, so print management. We build on the skills that you've learnt in Digital 1 in post-production, and we start learning how to focus around retouching, enhancement and manipulation, really high-end commercial output in that digital space. Design, again, focuses on the visual components and the principles and elements of photography. we look at how to visually present ourselves and really how to work in that design space. Source and Store focuses around digital asset management, looking at some research around contemporary photographic practice. Studio 2 builds on the Studio 1 experience. Again, the teachers are fabulous and start demonstrating more complex demonstrations in studio lighting, building your lighting skills, and really understanding how to control and manage working in a studio space. And obviously the all-important bit subject really are able to engage in the practice of setting up their business and learning what genres to move into, what is specialization they might be interested in delving into when they do move into the next space, whether that is a diploma or moving all the way through into the bachelor. Summary of the Cert 4 program over the 2 semesters. Next slide, please. The diploma, as mentioned, is about the specialization. So we do get students to start thinking about how they see themselves in their own genre and in their own interests, and really honing in on developing those skills. So you see that, again, the diploma in semesters. As you can see, the first semester focuses on visual communications, really getting a good understanding of how to articulate the work that you do, some great research around contemporary areas. And this is the start of what will build into the final folio practice. So it's really engaging students into getting a good understanding of what areas they really want to start focusing on in their own work. Photo imaging trends also works very closely with visual communications for getting students prepared and getting a good understanding of really how to visually present work and how to articulate what it is they want to start showing in their portfolio. The book project is an amazing 13-week project where students are able to get out and document the ability to work closely in a photo documentary style. I'll talk a little bit more about the book project in a moment. Tech and Emotive is all about the technical aspects of studio and obviously location lighting. So working in a more detailed way of how to work with ambient lights, how to work with equipment to really build on the skills of students getting out on location. Styling, learning how to stage and for our photo shoots, which is a lot of fun. And digital really builds up on the skill sets of our post-production. So really high-end commercial retouching, beauty retouching, photo manipulation and enhancement, really helping students into that next space of building into their final folio. Web marketing, a really crucial space for students to be able to have a visual platform, to be able to market themselves well. How do you work in a social media platform and present yourself with consistency, and also looking at building a website and understanding the importance of having a web presence, especially as an artist. Moving on to semester 2, we start looking at colour management, which really is about supporting the students for their final folio. So semester 2 really focuses on the students building that final folio, and then a number of courses that help support that culmination into that large body of work that we do see in an incredible exhibition at the end of the year. Work integrated learning, students have the ability to go out and actually build on learning in a real world environment. So students get a 40-hour opportunity to go out and work with industry, and I'll speak a little bit more about work integrated learning in a moment. Studio 3, or our commercial class, is all about high-end studio practice, looking at major projects and working off understanding how to work in the studio in a professional environment, and having that opportunity to really build on these major projects within the studio. Undertake project work is all about supporting the students for their exhibition. So students have the opportunity to fundraise for auctions, being able to build on collaborating together to come together for that student-led exhibition at the end of the year, which is, you know, a really fabulous way for students to connect, but also to get a good understanding of what it is to set up an exhibition. And then finally, the final folio. So that is a large space for students to have the opportunity to work in the studio under the Creative Work Final Folio course, where students can spend time either in the studio or on location to build and have mentor time with the teachers. And then the digital art process, which is all about the post-production and working with the teachers in order to build and enhance the folio for consistency and to produce a beautiful body of work for their end of year exhibition. Next slide, please. So our facilities are some of the best in vocational education. Students gain experience working with varied high-end camera and studio equipment. We also provide students the opportunity to work in a professional print and Mac lab with access to the full Adobe Creative Suite and capture with our industry standard programs. We also offer students an opportunity to loan equipment for assessments, and this is crucial in building confidence with equipment and allowing the experience to go beyond the classroom environment. Next slide, please. I'd now like to talk about a couple of student profiles from some current students that are in our course. So Fernando, I happened to meet in the mid-year program. So he has just finished his Cert 4. He started July last year. Now, Fernando is a really passionate student, a mature age student, and one that has become really engaged and embedded in the program. I'll just read a small excerpt out of our conversation that we had early on. So, I am enjoying the ability to push myself into the photography practice. When you look back and see what you have been capable of doing and how much you have learnt, that is amazing. I chose RMIT because of its reputation as the best place to learn photography. Not only equipment and studios, but libraries, study spaces, collaboration with other faculties and schools. The people I meet, teachers, students, staff, we all came together and supported each other so much. I had amazing times with my classmates, so much inspiration and passion. I made friends for life here, which is, you know, fantastic to see a mature age student come into a space and really meet a broader network of students to be able to collaborate with, to connect with, and to form lifelong friendships into industry. Next slide, please. Updesh is one of our amazing, she's so engaged in the diploma program as a full-time student. She has come up with some incredible bodies of work over the year, and I had you know, a really great time being able to find out more about Updesh and her creativity and what she wants to do moving into her photographic space. So here's a small excerpt out of our conversation. In the studio on projects alongside other students and teachers has been amazing. We're able to tailor the assessments in a way that works with what we want to achieve as photographers. And I think that's really crucial, being able to accommodate assessments and projects to really be aware that they thrive in their own skills and abilities. It's been a great experience so far, and I'm so glad I made the decision to study at RMIT. The skills I gained and growth I've seen in my work wouldn't have been possible without it. I created my very first book last semester. It documented the journey of a student completing his flight school training. We worked on it over a few months. It's been one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had as a photographer, and I'm so pleased that the book was one of those highlights for Updesh so far. Next slide, please. We are very fortunate to have a long and engaging connection with our industry partners. We are proud to be in support of our following service and professional partners, not only for providing the best for our students, but for supporting our annual shows and exhibitions. So we say a really big thanks to all our industry partners who share in the success of our student outcomes. And you can see we have far-reaching, great industry connections that we are so proud to be engaged with. Next slide, please. So with these industry connections, we have students also have the opportunity to build great rapport and engagement with these industry projects and with real clients. Entering competitions judged by photographic experts, attending field trips, whether it be professional studios, galleries, printing, framing or book services, Students have continual influence with our integral teaching staff to support and guide them in mentoring and in placement with photography professionals. Next slide, please. So here are some examples of what students can expect to be involved in. The book project, as I mentioned earlier, is a 13-week project inspired by Life magazine, where students find a story to document, curate, and bring together in a black and white photo book. This is an intensive class where students will really get to see their work soar. It's a project that comes full circle from concept to print output, and it's showcased within a small exhibition at the end of the year. We've been fortunate to work with RMIT's marketing too, and we have seen some real work-related projects come to light. Updesh, one of the profile students that I spoke about earlier, she did the flight school training through RMIT's marketing, and she was very fortunate to have her images showcased in RMIT's flight school training marketing and collateral. So we are really pleased to see that students are actually being able to use that work in real life experience and see it come to fruition in projects like RMIT's marketing. Our WIL, or Work Integrated Learning, sees student approach industry and receive 40 hours of authentic work-related experience. Students get to research, interview, gain invaluable knowledge in what is to be the industry and understanding sustainable work practices for future and longevity in photography. We're also really proud of our student-led diploma exhibition, which showcases some of the incredible work the diplomas do. And it's typically seen in excess of 300 plus industry guests and annually. We've been able to connect students directly from these shows. So it's really an integral part of the students finishing off their 2-year study from the Cert 4 to the diploma and being able to go into industry from that spot and be really, job ready. Slide, please. Some of the incredible career outcomes that students have gained from being involved in our photography and photo imaging programs. It's a testament to our success for our students who study at RMIT. So you can see the career from commercial advertising to being a freelance photographer and be in the domestic space, whether it's through wedding and portraiture, through to architecture, sports, fashion, media, and so on. Becoming a digital retoucher or compositor is a really important aspect of photography and a great aspect to move into. Photography assistants, a lot of students are job ready but can engage as an assistant and really get more learning from being a photographic assistant as they pursue their freelance photography or their business. Moving into education is another area of photography, which I know a lot of students have supported with their photographic business, and also coming in as a videographer as well. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to show you a couple of alumni profiles and just the successes of our students moving into really diverse areas and showing really great outcomes and specializations. So here we have Sammy Green, who graduated in 2014, who's a professional Melbourne-based freelance photographer. She focuses heavily on food photography and styling. Upon completing her diploma, until just recently, Sammy was also teaching in the food photography short course at RMIT. She's travelled to Europe to broaden her food philosophy and has gained experience in travel photography in that time. Next slide, please. Brett Clark graduated in 2015, has worked globally for some high-end international fashion clients that include Glam Cult magazine and Nyla magazine in China. He's done some really incredible work, very bold and really amazing fashion photography. Next slide, please. Kerry Pryer, our 2008 graduate, is a commercial photographer who specialises in dealing with people. Her background as a textile designer, Kerry was able to bring her designer's eye and sensibility to her photography. She won the Medal of Order of Australia, the OAM, which is awarded for service worthy of particular recognition for her work that she did in Africa, which is just absolutely incredible. Kerry has a love of social documentary to which she has been sent all over the world to capture stories. So a really great accolade for Kerry and her amazing work over the years. Next slide, please. Yovita is one of our international alumni from 2019, an emerging photographer who is now based back in Bali, Indonesia. Yovita has a huge passion in capturing stills and people, and you can just see the stunning work here. Her skill sets include styling, directing, and retouching. We're just so proud of Yovita and the work that she's done, and the fact that she really flourished based in Bali now. Next slide, please. Gabi, who graduated in 2016, is a well-recognised Melbourne-based retoucher. She specialises in commercial advertising imagery. She has an eagle-eye attention to detail, and a vast retouching folio has seen her work with clients such as Garnier, Penfolds, Heinz, Kubota, and as you can see here, RMIT's open day a little while back. She did some amazing work for us. DFO, Afterpay, American Express. I could just keep going with the amazing work that Gabi, sorry, has done over the years. Next slide, please. So Film, who we warmly regard, graduated in 2010, is another one of our international students from Thailand. She's a freelance photographer and mainly fashion. She does graphic design, art directing, and she's an owner and co-founder of a fashion clothing brand. She works for the Singapore Photographic Company full-time, and she was a part-time lecturer at Bangkok University teaching photography and VisCom. So you can see how diverse a student and an alumni has become in terms of her teaching practice, as well as being still embedded in the industry. Next slide, please. Stephanie Rooney, a 2013 graduate, is now in Geelong as a freelance photographer for interiors and product photography. She works closely with interior designers, stylists, homeware makers. Steph has had her work featured across print and online media, such as the Design Files, Interiors Addict, Home Beautiful, Inside Out, and Adore magazines, as well as Domain. And it's just incredible to see all of these alumni really moving into areas of interest that are so diverse and so far-reaching. You know, everything from digital retouching through to food, fashion, weddings, and so on. Next slide, please. I wanted to also mention Hunter Callahan, who is one of our most recent graduates in 2020. Hunter comes from the Nirrabaluk clan of the Tungarung people of Central Victoria. He's one of our most recent graduates and one of the most multi-skilled and incredible exemplars of talent come out of RMIT. He currently spends a lot of time on country immersed in his community and culture. Commercially, he's shooting Aboriginal archaeology and cultural heritage through photo documentary. If you wouldn't mind just moving to the next slide, I'd love to show you some of the work that he's doing there. He's producing, as I mentioned, through this Aboriginal archaeology and cultural heritage through documentation, producing what will be an incredible book based on this immersive project. You can see here that Hunter is experimenting not only in this incredible digital space of digital manipulation, but working in a very simple space of black and white film capture. And, you know, he uses drones, he works with just spending time in his community, really understanding the process of Aboriginal heritage and cultural heritage. So these alumni show varied career outcomes and broad skill sets that have stemmed from photography VE learning and shows sustainability and longevity in professional work that students are continuing to produce. Okay, so important dates, if we wouldn't mind moving to the next slide. So you can see here our dates for next year are for visual arts and photography, starting in February, early February, and finishing in November at the end of the year, and our mid-year is in July. Next slide, please. So thank you all for listening. Thanks to Tyler and Liam. We would like to open up the Q&A for everyone to discuss both visual arts and photography programs. So if you'd like to add to the chat, we're happy to answer any questions that you might have if you haven't done so already. So feel free to join them. So I can see a question here that is around the use of equipment and facilities. So students do get access to the studio for all of their studio classes. It's very hands-on. It is supervised. We do have an incredible incredible loan equipment area for students to be able to borrow equipment overnight. But that is a continual loaning service that's available for students. We do have a great booking system that students can use varied equipment that's on offer. And yes, you can borrow. So that's one of the amazing parts of our program, that students get to use that equipment outside of the studio space. Tyler?
Yeah, so obviously we have very similar loaning issues with photography as well. You also have excellent ability to use equipment with the other areas, printmaking, painting, and sculpture. As I mentioned, obviously some of those facilities aren't as sort of loanable. For example, printmaking, those presses are pretty heavy, pretty big, but we have a lot of studio access through your studio time. You get to spend so much time in your classes that you'll be able to achieve the work that you're required to finish sort of in that time. So everyone will be able to complete all of the work that they need to in regards to the other mediums in that way.
Yeah, and just onto that, the loaning of equipment is really for your assessment work and for paid commercial work. So it's an opportunity to use that in a professional space and really build on your assessment and your commercial work that you'll be doing. So yeah, it's a fabulous opportunity for students.
Yep.
So yeah, we're really proud of our programs, and we're really the students that are engaged within our programs. Our teachers are some of the most amazing teachers that we have in our programs, that are really engaged, that have a great relationship with the students, really push students to do think outside the box and really get creative with the work that they're doing. They're wonderful mentors, and one of our teachers, Rob, mentioned that alumni are still saying that as they go out into practice and as they're doing their work, they can still hear the teachers in the back of their mind saying, this is what you need to do, this is how you need to practice. So we have some wonderful teachers that are supporting our programs.
Yeah,
Tyler, I know that you've got some great visual arts teachers.
We definitely do. Across visual arts, every single staff member is very focused, in industry. They're artists who are exhibiting, who are engaged in their practice. So every time you walk into the classroom, you're going to be engaging with a sculptor or a printmaker or a photographer or an animator. Whatever class you're in, your teacher is going to be giving you, the most current advice that reflects, industry at present. So that's like a really positive thing for you to always be reflecting on. And so you can always be asking questions. You can always be reflecting constantly on, and I think as well with both courses, photography and visual arts, the fact that we have these graduate exhibitions, that's where you get to really translate so much of the industry knowledge from the staff into practice and really, in a positive way, drain them of the skills and the info that they have, and put it into practice. And just in terms as well, a lot of the staff as well don't just teach in VE. You'll have a lot of staff as well that are teaching in higher ed as well. So if you were to go into higher ed, you would, maybe see them again. And so with that as well, as we were saying before, your credits would transfer both for visual arts and for photography. Although I've explained how the visual arts credit has worked, but maybe Nat, you could talk a little bit about that for photography.
Sure.
With higher ed.
So yeah, so it runs vein, Tyler, that in that the students who have completed the diploma do get credit into the bachelor, and so it's again in that similar space where they get a 1 year advanced standing, basically. So you do learn aspects of the foundational areas of the bachelor, but you will program instead of a 3 year program. So the credits will cover you for a lot of the areas of the first year, and then you'll move into the second year of study in the bachelor. So yeah, very similar to yours, Tyler, in that you do move into a slightly more advanced pathway program. So you're not doing 3 years of the bachelor, you're going into a 2 year program instead. So it'll be a 4 year total Cert 4 diploma and then the 2 years of the bachelor. I think that's our time,
Thank you so
Tyler.
much. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and engaging.
Yeah, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to us. We really do hope that it's given you some insight into what RMIT offer in.
We hope.
And look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, we hope to see you in 2022.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Liam.
Bye, everyone.